And welcome back everybody to Hot Rod Guy Garage. And this can be yet another episode on the 91 Mustang GT. I've done a few things this morning. I'm going to flip the camera around and I'm going to show you what I've done so far. It's about 10:30 in the morning and we'll go over a few things. So this morning I come in here and I mocked up the downpipe. So that's going to be later on in this video. But I got the valve covers bolted down. I did put a stud kit in the valve covers. Used a 5/16 quart gasket. Because these valve covers, when you buy a stamped steel cover like this, guys, and you try to cram it down with a hard rubber gasket, which just had the blue with the steel reinforcement Velcro gaskets, they're going to leak. You're going to warp them all to pieces and they're going to leak. So we went to an SCE 5/16 thick quart gasket. Little RTV on the valve cover side. That way you can pull the valve covers off and the gasket still stays on it. And I come in here this morning and changed carb studs and put a 1-inch spacer on it. That way the throttle body clears the fuel rail. And I also put the dipstick back in it, and I straightened out this mess that was cobbled together before and got it properly bolted down. Even though it's bolted to the valve cover, I moved the bracket on it and welded up some little holes where the bracket had been ripped off of it. So I'm going to get busy trying to get the throttle body and elbow on it today. I'm going to try to get the downpipe mocked up and finished. So I got her elbow, it's sitting over here. And I did clear coat this because the finish is super poor when you order one of these from Holley. I generally prefer the Edelbrock ones, but there was none available. I really wish these guys would quit putting big old giant logos on this. But, you know, it is what it is. So I'm going to get this throttle body elbow assembled. I've got the throttle body over there, and I'll bring it along for the ride for that. And alright guys, we got our 102mm throttle body done to install. This is just your basic cheap throttle body. But these do work well. The only problem I've ever had with these, over time, sometimes the throttle screw will back out a little bit, or it'll wear the aluminum down here. And actually, every once in a while you just have to adjust the throttle screw. But other than that, I've had great luck out of them. And I'm sure the camera's probably shaking around. But what you're going to do, you're just going to throw your gasket on here like this. And then your throttle body's going to bolt up with 4 bolts. So I'm going to get busy trying to assemble this. And since this little table that we're on is super shaky, I'm going to cut the video there. So you kind of get the gist of what's going on. This real basic stuff. And just like magic, guys, it's assembled. I got our little throttle cable bracket on there also. So the only thing I'm not going to do right now is put these vacuum ports in here, because I will have to run stuff from this elbow and from the intake for our new EFI system, which by the way is not Holley. And let me get this on the car. And alright guys, I got our throttle body bolted on, and the reason why we had to add the spacer was because right here at this elbow, because this elbow does not come straight out, it angles actually downward. It was hitting the fuel rail right here slightly. So got all that on there and mocked up. A little unconventional for 5.0. I want to come out the driver's side. Most because our charge pipe's already coming up this way. So I'm hoping I can rotate that charge pipe and come in here with a nice smooth bend. So we'll just have to see how that happens. But it's starting to come together a little bit at a time. At this point, I'm going to kind of jump into my downpipe, and I'm going to get that thing roughed in. And hopefully get the oil flange on this turbo, the upper. And I've got to extract the broken old one out. So that's going to be fun stuff. And get the thermostat housing on it and thermostat in it. And all that good stuff. So let's get to work. No, that's not going to work either. Alright guys, if you can see right there, that end fit has been way over tightened. So I'm going to have to clean up the taper in here and see if we got any damage. But that right there is the reason why it broke off, way over tightened. So I'll be back in just a few. Well guys, I got her fitting cleaned out in there. And I know you can't see in there, but the taper on the fitting side looks okay. The little nut right here is a little tight, and I'm not really surprised for what it's been through. So what I'm going to do for now, I'm going to reuse this and just see if it will survive and not leak. If it leaks, unfortunately, because somebody installed this incorrectly first time, it's going to cost the customer probably an extra of $10 to $14. So I'm going to get this on here, and we're going to hope for the best, and I'll be back in a little while. Well guys, I was getting ready to transfer this water neck from the old intake onto the new one. I get it cleaned up and painted. It didn't have a thermostat in it. Important note, while you can run them without a thermostat, it's nice to have something such as a restrictor to slow the water flow down. So I installed a restrictor. I'm going to get this thermostat housing thrown back on there. And another thing kind of noteworthy, you don't have to glob this with RTV, just a nice light smear. If you have to use a bunch of RTV on your water neck, either your water neck's warped or your intake is. So let me get this on there. And alright guys, it's about an hour and a half, 2 hours later. A lot of y'all probably like, this is real slow going stuff. It really is. Once you start painting something under the hood of a car, anything that you put off or take on looks bad. So you end up doing a lot of sandblasting, a lot of painting, a lot of wire brushing, a lot of cleaning on stuff that you normally would be okay and you wouldn't really notice. So I'm going to flip the camera around and kind of show you what I mean. And alright guys, I don't know if you noticed in the first video, but the radiator mounts in the radiator look very bad in this car to begin with. You know, a little cleaning stuff, it looks a lot better. I'm going to get rid of this wiring mess when I rewire this car under the hood. And this relay won't be here anymore. It will be moved to a more discreet location. But as you can see, just a little time spent in it makes stuff look a lot better. So when you get in a rush, things kind of get sloppy, and there's nothing wrong with using dirty parts and stuff. But when you're trying to make a nice car, spend a little extra time in this stuff and clean it up. It may not be perfect, but it looks a lot better. Alright guys, it's been a little while later. I reran the oil pressure line, the water temp line through the intake, cleaned that up, and just some little small stuff since then. And alright guys, I've been working on the downpipe here, trying to use watt bends we already had in the downpipe to come on the car this time. Trying to go out the same hole that was cut before. I did clean the hole up a lot at the back of the strut tower. So I'm going to just flip camera and I'm going to show you what I got so far. I'm fixing to pull this off and re-weld it, and hopefully after I mock it up after I weld it, it all still fits like it does now, and I'll get that thing painted and wrapped and on the car. So let me flip camera. And alright guys, I'm going to start out over here. That way we can see that there was already a ginormous hole cut back here. It's real biased towards the brake line. I shortened this downpipe about an inch to bring it forward at the bend. Looks like our O2 sensor bung is still going to be in a functional spot, so don't have to worry about moving it. And it looks pretty good in the car as far as being straight. And the difference now is you can actually get to all the spark plugs and spark plug wires. And if you want to, this downpipe will be easy to remove. So I kind of angle cut it right here a little bit at the fender. This oblong weird hole with all the paint chips was already there. So basically everything's all mocked up. I'm going to pull this thing back off here. I'm going to weld it up. Get it cleaned up. and we'll paint it and wrap it and get it back installed. So our downpipe's all welded up. It's mega hot, so I'm gonna let it cool off a few minutes. Hit with the wire brush. Wasn't real worried about making the welds super pretty on this because it will be wrapped with header wrap. Nobody will ever see it except for you guys. The important thing when welding stuff like this, you want as tight of a gap fit up as you can get. Welding gaps on pipe is not fun, and if your weld's not penetrating good, check your welder settings. But basically, guys, I cut everything with the Sawzall, and it usually ends up pretty darn straight. A lot of people kind of cringe at that kind of stuff, but you know, I've had good luck doing it over the years. So it's my tool of choice. So I'm gonna let that pipe cool off. We'll get it cleaned up, degreased inside and out, wire brush it real good, spray a little paint on it, we'll wrap it. And all right, guys, I got our downpipe wire brushed up, degreased, heated up, wiped down. Clean the tip of it up a little bit just to make it kind of look fresh. And, you know, it's ready to wrap now. So, a lot of you are probably wondering why I painted the pipe. It's not for corrosion resistance. I use a slow curing enamel like this, and it actually helps me wrap the header. Helps hold the header wrap in place if you do it when the paint's slightly sticky. Eventually that paint will burn off and turn into a chalky type powder, which also helps it easier to remove the header wrap. And that chalky powder does have some anti-corrosive properties I've seen over the years, and usually the pipe won't rust at all under the wrap when you do that. So that's why I paint them. Alright guys, I'm just going to drop in right here. If you haven't liked this video yet, go ahead and hit that like button. I'd greatly appreciate it. And also, if you haven't yet, and you're a subscriber, check out the 1,000 subscriber giveaway video. I'm going to drop a thumbnail of it right here. That video has all the information on actually getting, technically, let's just say registered for the 1,000 subscriber giveaway. I don't know what I'm going to give away yet, and people have asked me what I'm giving away. Well, I don't know, guys. Like I said before, I like to give stuff to people that, you know, they appreciate and actually have some kind of use for in their life. Or it's something that they like. So that's what I'm going to give away. I'm going to find out what your interests are, whoever the winner may be, and I'm going to pick something out just for you. So if you're not a subscriber and you're watching this video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, watch that video, and you'll be entered also. So other than that, guys, we're still lacking on watch hours, so y'all can watch a playlist or two. And I'll tell you another series that nobody's really watched. It's actually a Geo Metro series, not the How to Make a Geo Metro Faster stuff, but the Project Phoenix album. That car is pretty cool, guys, or at least I thought it was, and everybody that's seen it thinks it's cool. So watch the videos. Some of them aren't all that great, but I pretty much show 99% of the work of what it takes to build a mid-engine turbo Geo Metro for under $30,000. So check it out, and we'll get back to the Mustang here in just a minute. And alright, downpipe's installed, tightened up. What you didn't see on the video, I did put a little high temp RTV on the downpipe flange where I bolted up turbo. So I'm going to flip around, I'm going to show you what kind of the finished product looks like. And I also have a turbo blanket to put on this car, and I'll show you all that here in just a second. So basically our downpipe's wrapped and installed, and we got our pipe out here out the fender. I tried to bring this pipe out enough where, you know, you get the exhaust away from the car a little bit. If you noticed in some of the Project Freetro videos, you can see actually where the paint's burned on the hood and the downpipe sticks above the hood about that far. So at speed, you're going to blow that fire right up against the paint. So I tried to bring it out a little bit, try to keep it clean, try to keep our clearance in this area inside the wheel well for our tire super wide, and we're pretty much, you know, ready to put that turbo blanket on. So let's get to it. And guys, a little pick like this helps with the springs, and sometimes you're gonna have to cut this spring down a little bit and shorten it. When I got the spring that had all the tension on it, the other spring, it wrapped it on around, and this spring's about double too long. So I'm gonna cut this down, bend another little hook in it, and I'll be back here in a minute. Well, I got a little spring cut down. Stretched it a little bit too much there at the end, but it don't really matter on this application, as long as it's just got a little tension to hold that blanket on there. So let's see if it fits. And it fit like a glove. So got our turbo blanket on there. That stuff, guys, heat management is super important with the turbo setup. A lot of people don't like to wrap stuff. They like to have it ceramic coated or whatever. While ceramic coating's pretty, it doesn't really do as much as heat wrapping does on a turbo setup. You want that air to stay as hot and dense as that pipe and come out as hot as it can into the turbo. That improves velocity. Turbo blanket on the hot side of the turbo also helps quite a bit. So not only does it help under hood temps and stuff that's near things like the downpipe near the valve covers or what have you, it does help some. Heat wrapping does not mean that you can lay wires or plug wires right up against that stuff, but it helps with some of the heat generated. Same with those little fiberglass spark plug wire boots. You think when you got those that you can lay a plug wire right up against the header tube? It don't work that way, guys. It will burn it straight through that boot. So it just helps radiant heat. So let me figure out what I'm doing next and I'll be back. And alright guys, even though this video is pretty short for you guys, it's been a long day here at the shop. While I can't show everything due to what I'm using to record, which is my cell phone, I don't have a lot of data I can store on it. That's the big thing with me trying to get the 1,000 subscribers and the watch hours, so we can start making a little money on these videos off YouTube. Those ads that you see, I'm sure they pop up in my videos, even though I do not add them. YouTube gets paid for those. And still, that stuff don't cost you money, so. It's 5 o'clock. It's time to start working on Project Freetro stuff. I'm going to see if I can't get at least 2 motor mounts made solid today. And I don't know if it's possible. It gives me about an hour to do it before I want to be home. So I'm going to get busy on that. And look forward to another Mustang video tomorrow, guys. Because we're getting real close on this thing. We probably, you know, probably another 4 or 5 days, this thing will be running. So then we'll do some tuning videos on it and we'll go from there. So see you at the next one, guys. Thanks for watching.